You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. The high-pitched squeak of Bentley Lawrence III's voice makes me laugh as he finishes singing his favorite verse of his favorite song to me. He's always loved to sing, and I love every second of it. I love you so much, Bentley Lawrence III. I always pause before adding the snooty title to the end of his name, which makes him laugh, just as he does every time I mock his name. Now, stop singing before we're arrested for noise pollution. I smack his solid chest while leaning in for a kiss I know will take my breath away. Bentley could walk off the cover of GQ magazine on his worst day. He's the definition of tall, dark, and handsome. With his dark hair and his bright blue eyes, women literally stop in their tracks to stare at him. He never notices, though, because he only has eyes for one woman. And that young woman just happens to be me. I'm the luckiest girl in the world. And who am I, you might be wondering? I'm no one special, especially compared to Bentley. He'd argue that point, but since I'm the one telling you the story, I get to tell it my way, and you're forced to listen. Well, I guess you can walk away or plug your ears. You can turn off your listening device or shut the cover of your book. But since you're still here, you must be willing to listen to what I have to say. Trust me, there's a lot. My name's Charlie Diamond. Yep, Diamond is my real last name. My parents absolutely hate it. They consider diamonds to be wickedly overpriced rocks, and they want nothing to do with them. Before you get the wrong idea, my parents are amazing and humble. My father is a preacher, and my mother owns a small craft and floral shop. My mom can literally knit or crochet from 5 in the morning until 10 at night, which is the latest I think she ever stays up. From the very first memory I have, I can remember my mother in the kitchen cooking beautiful meals for my father and me. She loves being a wife. She loves being a mother. She could be the star of a 60s sitcom, having a drink and cigar for my father as he comes in the door at night. Well, if my father drank. He only has wine on special occasions, and I can't imagine him ever smoking. He believes our bodies are a temple, and we should treat them as such. So, that pretty much sums up my folks, and yep, you guessed it, I'm the preacher's daughter. Now, before you get any ideas, I'm not totally wild like the preacher's daughter in Footloose. If I have to make a comparison, I'm more like the preacher's daughter in that one episode of Supernatural where the hook man keeps coming for revenge until Sam and Dean save the day. Dean. I'm a total Dean fan. Well, I love Bentley, of course, but Dean Winchester just might be my favorite TV boyfriend ever. That man is sexy as all get out. I'm innocent, to a point, but I'm not afraid to break some rules. My best friend, Steffi, who just so happens to be the love of my life's twin sister, helps me break free of some of my inhibitions. But the one person who makes me feel freer than anyone else on this planet is my boyfriend, Bentley. What he sees in me, I'll never know, though he gives me lists of the qualities he loves best about me every single day we're together. He's amazing. I have to sing to you, Charlie, Bentley says with full sincerity. I have been in love with you since kindergarten, after all. I've been so lost in my thoughts that it takes me a second to remember our conversation. I smile. It's rare when I'm with Bentley that I forget he's at my side. I don't know how, I tell him, just as I have 1,001 times. We're seniors in high school now, and have only been an official couple since the beginning of the school year. When I finally realized he was serious, that he wasn't teasing his twin sister's best friend, but that he really does have feelings for me. I don't know how the Baron of the Land, the all-star football, basketball, and baseball champ, who has so many trophies he no longer has enough shelf space for them, and the kindest young man in the world can love me so much. I tell him, this isn't the first time I've said it. He cups my cheek as he gazes into my eyes, melting me from the inside out. I'm in love with you because you're talented, beautiful, kind, and unique. It'd be crazy not to love you. He kisses my lips again, making me speechless. I can't ever get enough of his touch. Bentley is the hero of our small town in eastern Oregon. Not only is he great-looking, a true gentleman, and an all-star athlete and an all-around great guy, but he's a land baron. His family founded the small municipal of Prairie Town 4 generations earlier, and they've only amassed more land, more resources, and more wealth over time. But just because they're wealthier than most in the world doesn't mean they don't work hard. Bentley and his sister, Steffi, were riding horses and tractors by the age of 5. One of my absolute favorite things to do with Bentley and Steffi is to ride all day with a picnic lunch in our saddlebags. I could live on a horse. You do realize your cool boy reputation will forever be ruined by dating not only the class nerd, but the preacher's daughter, I reminded him. No one will dare make fun of me, he says. I get another kiss before he leans back, making sure I believe what he's telling me. Truth pours from his expression. They're jealous that I've chased you for so long and finally got you. They're jealous because they know I have the greatest woman in the United States. He makes me glow. I love this boy so much. I hadn't realized how long he'd been trying to win me over because I truly thought he was out of my league. It seems a little silly now because I've been best friends with his sister since we were in diapers. His parents had attended my father's church. They passed away 4 years earlier, leaving Bentley and Steffi very, very, very wealthy kids. Their funds were put into a trust and they had caretakers until a month ago, when they turned 18. They're all on their own now. Well, they aren't exactly on their own since their massive ranch employs about 100 people. They were inexplicably sad the first year after their parents lost their lives in a small plane crash. But they have each other, and they have me, and we've been inseparable since we were toddlers. My parents always insist they come over for Sunday dinners as well. They might have more money than any teenagers should ever possess, but that hasn't changed who they are. Bentley pulls back again. I'm a nerd too, you know, he says, as if just remembering the last part of our conversation. I don't interrupt, just raise my brow and wait for him to explain. I get straight A's. I laugh. You get straight A's without effort because you can't stand to fail, I say. So I'm not sure if that counts, especially when you don't even have to study. You're naturally smart. I have to study all night for upcoming tests. Now, whose adorable nose is growing? He asks as he taps my nose. I have to study hard for science class, I defend. He is right, though. I am smart. Not a day passes that I'm not grateful for my photographic memory. School is pretty easy for me. I'm at the end of my senior year and still unsure of what I'm going to do with my life, though. I want out of our small town, but the thought of leaving Bentley and Steffi behind is unbearable, so I haven't applied for college. I don't have the luxury of staying home like they do. I have to find work, and it isn't going to be as a waitress forever, which is what I'm currently doing at the Oxbow restaurant that serves the best pizza west of the Rockies. You're smarter than I am, and I want to know how the college applications are going, he says as if he can read my mind. I sigh. Maybe I'm afraid to go off to college because I know how many of the girls in this town are just chomping at the bit, waiting for a chance to win your affection. I'm only halfway teasing. I don't care how much he denies it, and maybe he really doesn't see those girls, but I know how many want him. They are always giggling, batting their eyelashes, and doing just about everything except stripping in front of him to gain his attention. Bentley absolutely isn't rude to anyone, but if I'm being honest, I'll admit he makes the message absolutely clear that he's a taken man. It makes me feel like a queen on a throne. I truly believe he loves me. No other woman can hold a candle to you, and I've already said I'll follow you anywhere. You've been happy to live the dream of your parents and to stay by my side. But it's time for you to focus on your dreams now, he reminds me. I don't know what my dreams are, I tell him again. I wish I did know my dreams. I'm sure there are more people in the world like me than him. He knows from the time he was little who he is and what he'll do with his life. I change my mind every 5 minutes. Then we'll just have to figure your dreams out, he says as he tugs on my ponytail. When it's warm in eastern Oregon, it's really warm, and my hair is up far more than it's down. On the other hand, in the winter, it's cold enough to house Eskimos in mansion-sized igloos. Oregon weather has some extreme highs and lows. You can't leave. You have a business to run, I tell him. I've told him this many times. I have my parents' business to run, and a year ago, they hired very capable people to do it. That means I can go anywhere I want and be by your side. Maybe I want some college experiences, he says. I can't help but smile at this man. He's 18 now and no longer a boy. He hasn't had a boy's body in years, but his face still holds on to a little of that boyish charm. He's only grown sexier as the years pass by, and if the fates all align, I'll get to be at his side through all of his future years. I'm a bit scared to take you to a college full of sexy women, I say, though even as I say the words, I know I don't mean them. I know the women will look, but I know how secure I am at his side. He throws his head back and laughs. I'm not sure if I'm pleased by that or not, but he's still grinning as he again cups my cheek and looks into my eyes. There's no other woman who comes even close to comparing to you, he tells me. He leans in and kisses my neck. You have the sexiest and sweetest smile I've ever seen. He kisses me again. It all depends on what you're thinking about, whether you look like the preacher's daughter or the siren on the banks of the ocean. He pauses, kisses me again, and then laughs. And the way you always smell drives me absolutely wild. I love that you don't have just one scent. I love that I can walk into a mall and smell you everywhere I go. My favorite are the fruity ones, but I like them all. I get a few more kisses. I'm losing my breath and my train of thought. I remember at the beginning of the year how you asked what scent I was wearing and then licked your lips. I gave an embarrassed chuckle. You turned the most amazing shade of red I've ever seen anyone turn, he says with another throaty laugh. Of course, that's because the scent was called Pure Seduction, which just so happens to be my favorite. I don't think you could have walked away faster if there had been a hive of bees after you. I most certainly had a sleepless night after hearing that name. Well, you shouldn't have asked. I didn't wear that scent for another month. I was so embarrassed by the name, I say. I remember clearly the day you wore it again, since we have a lot of the same classes together. You walked into math class, and the fan blew on you, and I had to stay in my seat for a long while, since it would have been obvious to the entire class what the scent had done to my lower regions. I feel myself heating again. I've made out with Bentley for months and months, and he still has the power to embarrass me. My parents have told me over and over again that I'm not to have sex with a man until I'm married. They remind me that I'll lose respect from boys if I give them something that should be saved for my husband. So far, I've been able to keep that vow. I'm not sure how much longer I'll be able to hold out, though. To Bentley's credit, he never pushes me. It's me who's starting to push him. I love him, and I want to be as close to him as two humans can be. I don't know how that can be a sin. I love you, Charlie, so much that I empty when you aren't with me, Bentley says. He's told me this 1,000 times, and yet the words still take my breath away. I love you so much, it sometimes hurts, I say. Those words had been hard for me to say at first, but now they easily roll off my tongue. I've learned patience while waiting for you. It's been good for me, Bentley says. I'm so glad you never gave up on me, I tell him. Our back-to-school dance was when I finally got my girl, he reminds me. I'm taken back to that magical night. I love how you asked me to dance. He came up and asked for a dance, giving me a dramatic bow, making both Steffi and me giggle. There was no way I could turn him down. I already had developed real feelings for him by then, but was afraid to act on them. What if he was harmlessly flirting with his sister's best friend? If I made a pass at him and he slapped me down, I'd have been humiliated. It would have made it impossible for me to go to his house again, which I couldn't imagine. I love that you said yes. I took your hand and pulled you into my arms, and knew from that moment on I'd never let you go. You were always so sure. I love that confidence in you, I say. I love that you've only grown more bold, more sexy, and certainly more confident. It's easy to have confidence in how you feel when you've felt it for as long as I have. I felt good that night, wearing the blue satin dress Steffi insisted I get. I worked hard all summer to pay for that dang dress, but it was totally worth it. I couldn't agree more, he says as he scoots a bit closer. It fit your body to perfection, showing off your luscious curves while leaving a lot to the imagination. I had many dreams of leaning in and kissing your sweet, satiny neck that night. You were a total gentleman, though, I remind him. Barely, he says with a laugh. I'm not sure how I got through the night without dragging you away to some dark corner and having my way with you. Because you have too much respect for both of us to do that. I loved you then, just as I do now. And you're absolutely right. I respected you far too much to turn a beautiful night into a cheap cliché. You've never made me feel that way, I tell him. You were wearing sweet vanilla that night. I still can't walk past the bakery aisle without thinking of how it felt to romantically hold you for the first time. It was that dance that made me crave your kiss more than anything else in this world. I've never told him that before. It's a good thing I confessed my love to you that night then, he says. He leans in and kisses me again. It's so odd to realize that just 9 months earlier I wasn't able to kiss him anytime I wanted. And now a single day doesn't pass without his lips touching mine at least once. I'll never forget your words, I say. He looks at me as he repeats them. I might only be 18, but high school will soon end. I don't want to go another day without you at my side. I've been in love with you since the first time I spotted you in our youth group class and you spilled paint all over my new shoes. I've been in love with you before I knew what love was. I want you to be mine, and I want to be yours. Please, please be mine. Even though these are the exact words he said only a few short months ago, it's like hearing them for the first time. My heart grows several inches as I gaze into his sparkling blue eyes that are filled with real emotion. Why me? I ask, just as I asked after he said those words to me for the first time. He smiles, true joy in his eyes. Because you might not see how amazing you are, but I do. In a sea of robots, you're unafraid to leap into the unknown. If someone falls, you're the first to reach out a hand to help them up again. When the world quakes in fear, you stand strong in the storm. You're a true friend, a truly talented woman. And you're so dang beautiful, it almost hurts to gaze upon you. The question isn't why you. The question is why wouldn't it be you? He tells me. We relive that evening from high school. I had told him he might get made fun of for dating the biggest nerd in school. He had laughed again, loud that time, in the middle of the dance floor of our school gymnasium. Then he told me that I was the only person in the entire school who didn't know how in love with me he was. After speaking those words, he'd wrapped his arms around my waist and lifted me high in the air, making me giggle and taking my breath away all at once. He then lifted his head and shouted his next words. "Charlie Diamond, if you won't be mine right this minute, I'm sure I'll perish." There was lots of laughter from the students around us at his silly display. I should have been embarrassed, but all I felt in that moment was unending love. "Please put that boy out of his misery," a student called. "We're done with the lovesick crying he's always going on and on about in the locker room," another voice yelled. "Say yes for the love of all our sanity," another voice called. "See? The entire school knows how I feel," Bentley said. "Yes, Bentley, yes, I'll be yours," I said. The entire school was quiet, so they could hear my answer. There was thunderous applause as if they'd all witnessed something great. And then Bentley pulled me back down to earth and finally pressed his lips to mine. I tingled from head to toe. I had forgotten we were surrounded by our peers as he again took my breath away. I might have forgotten where we were, but the world hadn't forgotten about us. "That's enough of that, Mr. Lawrence," Mr. Henderson, the librarian, said, as he patted Bentley on the back. "Dances aren't make-out spots for hormone-riddled teenagers," he finished. I turned bright red as I looked around and noticed the rest of the students staring at us with knowing expressions on their faces. The guys had looks that seemed to say, "Way to go," and "finally." The girls' expressions varied from happiness to sadness to envy to pure hatred. I didn't care at all. "Bentley Lawrence, this has been the best dance I've ever had," I whispered. After a stunned pause, Bentley burst out laughing, pulled me close, and spun me around again. "Let's get out of here, and I'll buy you some ice cream." "I know pecan caramel is your favorite," he said on a chuckle. "Ah, you know my weakness, but I'm not sure I know all of yours." I grinned like a loon on a hot summer afternoon. His next words sealed how much I loved him. "You," he replied with total sincerity. "You are my only weakness." He then bent down and gave me another kiss before pulling me to the front doors. We escaped with a lot of chuckles behind us. Bentley stopped when we were alone. No one followed us. There was love and a bit of fear in his eyes. "You know you're my girl now, right? Please don't say you were just trying to salvage my ego since people were begging you to say yes. You'll shatter my fragile heart." He spoke the words as a joke, but I felt as if he meant them. I paused for only a second. I was scared to admit to him how much I liked him. "Well, I wouldn't want to be responsible for placing our star football player in the hospital before the first big game," I joked. "Charlie, you've made me the luckiest guy in the world. I'll never let you go. I'll treat you like a princess, and you won't even know another guy exists on this planet," he assured me. "I guess that makes two of us the luckiest people in the world, then," I replied quickly. "And we haven't been apart since that moment," Bentley says, bringing us both back to the present. "We graduate in a month. I can't believe how quickly time passes. It's too fast." "I don't want to scare you away, Charlie, but I need to do this," Bentley says. "Do what?" I ask. "You know there's nothing in this world that can scare me away." "I mean it. I love him. It's pure, and it's that simple." I lose my breath when he drops down in front of me, then reaches into his pocket. I can't find my voice to stop him even if I want to. which I don't. Charlie Diamond, I love you heart and soul. I cannot wait any longer to make you my bride. I know we're barely 18. I know we've only officially been together for 9 months, but we've known each other for 17 years. We've lived a lifetime in our short lives. I want to make you mine. I want to marry you. I want to have it all with you. Please, be my wife right now. We can run down to the Justice of Peace and get married today, he says. Are you serious? I ask, as he opens the small black box in his hand and presents a stunning gold band that glitters in the sun. Tears drop as I look at the engraving of stars and moons carved into the precious metal. There are rubies woven into it, no diamonds inside. He truly did listen to me. I didn't want a cold rock on my finger. I want the universe. I've never been more serious about anything, he assures me. We're so young. You might change your mind. I try to reason. His grin only grows. I know for a fact that I won't. I love you. Run away and marry me, he begs. Joy fills my heart. I want to marry him. I want to do it right now, and then I want a honeymoon. A real honeymoon, where we'll finally be as close as two people can be. Yes, Bentley. Yes. I want to marry you, I say. I drop to my knees in front of him and grab him around the neck, holding him tight. We stay that way for a very long time before he pulls back and takes my hand. He places the unique ring on my finger, a perfect fit. It sparkles in the sun, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Want to run off to Vegas? He asks. It's only half a joke. If I say yes, I have no doubt he'll have me on the first plane to the city of sin. Now, Bentley, do you really want to start our honeymoon in the hospital? You know that's where my father will put you if you take me away for a Vegas wedding, I say with a laugh. I'm just so lonely in my big old house without you, he whines. You have your sister there, I remind him. He laughs again. If my sister comes and warms my bed, then we might have a problem, he tells me. You're so gross, I say with another laugh. If she heard you even joke about that, she'd be the one putting you in the hospital. I have no doubt about that. Let's hope the twin psyche connection is turned off at the moment, he says. We finally rise to our feet and walk away from the park hand in hand. The sun is just beginning to lower in the sky, taking away the rays bouncing off my ring. Are you ready to face my father? I ask. More than ready. He'll read the sincerity in my eyes and know how much I love you, and that I'll always protect you, he assures me. There is zero doubt in my mind that what he's saying is the absolute truth. I want forever with you, Bentley Lawrence. The third, I say with a giggle as we walk up to my humble home in back of the church I've been raised in. I promise you an eternity, and so much more, he assures me. He means those words now, and I think he means those words for life. It wasn't his fault he wasn't able to keep that promise. It certainly wasn't his fault how lost I'd be without him.